rock and roll.
Hi, Max. How are you doing, sir? Thanks very
I'm
much for speaking
really
to me.
well. Yeah, thank you for having me. Excited.
So, congratulations on the movie. It's fantastic. I watched it again last night. I watched it a couple of times already. I couldn't. I had to watch it a second time straight afterwards. It's fantastic. So,
Oh,
congratulations
thank
on the
you.
movie.
Thanks so much.
What I particularly love about, I mean, obviously, heist movies, they're a dime a dozen, but there's something very special about this one. It really took me back to kind of like the 80s action movies. What was it specifically about this one that struck a chord with you? You thought this could be a heist movie that actually kind of stands out in the crowded genre that there is there.
Well, you know, because I think that, and I said this to Will, the director, after I saw it for the first time, is that he really was able to carve out these very human moments and between the two brothers and with the girl at the end of the film and the baby and I mean I just felt like it's funny it would go from this extreme kind of testosterone driven action to a stop, and you would be suddenly in a scene with these two brothers reliving their past, and I just felt the history, and I felt like there were a lot of very rich moments that as an actor it's what differentiates this film from other generic action films, I think, is that we had those opportunities to explore.
Absolutely. I mean, I love the way that Clayne and yourself you were introduced in the film completely differently. I mean, we see Clayne all of a sudden he's with his baby, and then all of a sudden you're in the back of a van telling this really long-winded, smutty joke to the guys. And I don't think I'll be able to see a donkey in the same vein ever again. No. But no, I just love that. I love the kind of the juxtaposition, the comparison between the two of you, and then the way that you come together and fight for this common goal, even though you are in so different circumstances. No.
Yeah, what's kind of a cool little history is to tell is that Clayne and I have done. Let's see, we have done 1, 2, 3. I think this was our 4th movie.
Oh, really? I wasn't sure. And you'd done something together. I didn't know you'd done 4 together, right?
Yeah, we did a movie called The Great Raid, which is a World War II film. We did a movie
I saw
called
Spectral.
Spectral, right? We did that together. We did, sorry, it wasn't, we did a pilot for HBO and Alan Ball. And then we did this together. But, for years, and we've known each other for, I don't know, 30 years, we've been saying, we've got to play brothers. We have to play brothers. And Will initially offered me the FBI agent. He offered Clayne my role. And then we got on the phone and conspired to flip the characters and take over the brother roles. And Will, he kind of jumped on pretty quick, when we presented it to him.
I'll tell you a quick story. I'm on the tractor, and we were kind of getting the last cut of the season for my cows. And my wife, and I never have my phone with me when I'm outside working on the farm. And my wife's coming outside and she's got my cell phone. And I'm like, what? I can't. And she goes, Max keeps calling. You need to make sure his kids are okay, that there's not an emergency. I'm like, okay. So I pull the tractor, and I grab the phone and I ring Max. And he's like, hey, dude, are you going to do this movie? I go, what movie? What are you talking about? He goes, we got offered a movie. Are we going to do it? I'm like, dude, I haven't looked at my emails. I don't know what's happening in the world. I said, until I get all this hate put up, and he goes, well, look, go read it, but we got to play the brothers. Okay. They want me to play the cop. They want you to play the older brother. I'm like, okay. So sure enough, man, I read the material and I said, oh, without a doubt, Max and I, because we've known each other for over 20 years, we met on The Great Raid back in the CinemaChords film that John Dahl directed in 2001. And we've worked on this was our 4th time working together. Yeah. So we've always kind of wanted to play brothers because I kind of look at Max as an older brother. We've watched one another's kids grow up. So yeah, we jumped on the phone with Will and we just said, look, can we pitch you an idea? And luckily Will was excited about it.
When you say luckily, I don't know if you know this. I imagine he's told you. I was just speaking to Will now, and he said that he got on the call with you two guys to see what you said, but he'd already decided that was going to be. He'd already decided that you were going to be brothers before you even spoke to him about it.
Oh, lies.
Look, He's a fun. He didn't give us that information when he was on the phone. That's what Max and I were just talking about this. He was so coy about the whole thing, so we were really trying to pitch it and sell it, and he's kind of stone faced, just kind of taking it all in. And I'm like, I don't know if this guy's fucking buying this or not, right? And we just keep kind of, hey, and like we've known each other forever. It's gonna be like we're real brothers. He's just like, okay. And yeah, now he tells everybody he is in from the moment get. So he made Max and I do a little dance.
You've also got a military history, no? Because you've done military kind of and police films previously. Was it easy
Yeah.
to kind of get that brother feeling going, and also to bring the military aspect that you've worked on before into the film?
Oh, 100%. I mean, fortunately, I've been able to be part of these amazing war films. I mean, I was in Saving Private Ryan, kind of jump started everything. I did recently 13 Hours. Captain Phillips. Spectral was military based. I was on a series called The Unit for 4 years, which was a military show. So I've had a lot of training, and before you do one of these movies, you go through these boot camps, and which are very, very valuable, and often led by former special operators. So you're getting this incredible experience and opportunity to train with these guys, and so yeah, we showed up pretty dialed in. I know Clayne's had a lot of weapons training also.
Mhm. Obviously, I mean, you got this. Obviously, you got this military background, but at the same time, it dives down a really dark rabbit hole in terms of PTSD. The both of you, especially in your case, you really have. You've got a bad case of PTSD. When you approach this, did you find it very important to also kind of highlight the importance of PTSD and kind of raise awareness for veterans for suffering PTSD, and how important it is that they need to seek help?
Well, look, I mean, that's something that I do in my spare time. I'm very involved with veterans that are in need, and I support three charities: Higher Ground USA, the Gary Sinise Foundation, and Warriors Heart out of Bandera, Texas. Three amazing charities, and so I'm always, if there's ever an opportunity to bring awareness, or shed light on this unfortunate ailment that our returning soldiers come back, many of them come back with. I seize that opportunity. But for this character, look, I mean, a lot of these guys, and I know in particular from experience with buddies of mine, that anger is something that is a symptom of PTS or traumatic brain injury. So, I don't think it's specified in the film that I'm dealing with that, but it's an obvious kind of, like I said, symptom that plays well into the story. I mean, these guys have obviously seen some pretty hard combat, and they're trying to just set themselves up and move on.
Mhm. Something I particularly loved about the film as well is the fact that even though Clayne and yourself as well do some seriously dirty deeds, you can't help but empathize. I'm not saying that what you do is right, or that I agree with anything that you do, but you can't help but empathize with the problems that you've gone through, and kind of empathize with both of your characters despite everything that you do in the film. That must have been a really fine line to find just the right balance, no?
It's fun to find that
Definitely fun, yeah.
balance. I think it's a little frustrating, the old school storytelling where, this guy wears the black hat and this guy wears the white hat, and who's the good and the bad. And it's complicated. And I think people make, decisions and choices based on life, depending on whatever their circumstances may be, and it doesn't necessarily define who they are. And Max was kind of discussing this earlier, is that, always trying to find those qualities in a character that makes them human. And they're not always just these evil kind of villains. So I think that was the joy of this, is having that brother relationship, the bickering that kind of brothers do, even when they're older. And I kind of think that helped ground this film.
One of the interesting ways to play, a soldier, there's two ways. You can bark out orders and commands, and you can, and look good on a gun and get through the movie and be very passable. Or you can, find moments to make the audience kind of sympathize with you or fall in love with you. And in this case, I think the connection between the two brothers does that in a big way. It's a lot of people that have seen the film that have come up to me have said, look, I was torn because I felt so horrible at the end of the film. I'm not going to spoil it, but at the end, and because I liked your character so much, and so look. I mean, it makes for a richer experience in the theater. Obviously, it's a win if you're able to do that, and apparently, we did it. We pulled it off. So
No, you did it fantastically. Yeah, it made me feel. I mean, it was just made me feel torn between. I shouldn't be feeling this way, but I can't help it. It's just these guys they're in this situation, and you can't help it. Yeah, you pulled it off perfectly. It's brilliant. Yeah. Someone else who really grounded the film was your partner in the film, Ava, who's Julianne Jones. She's fantastic. I was speaking to Max, speaking to Willis. I think she's going to break a role. She's going to be a big name very, very soon, thanks to this movie.
She's really good, and she's a stunt. She is a stunt woman, so she comes into this with just a solid foundation as it relates to just being comfortable on set. And for her to be able to have acting chops as well as to be able to handle firearms, she was driving the vehicle when we were doing any of the driving stuff, and she was fantastic. I agree with you. I think she's got a bright future ahead of her, and we were lucky to have her.
Brilliant. Well, listen, give me the wrap. Thanks so much for speaking to me. I really appreciate your time. Wish you the best luck with the movie, and I hope to speak to you again sometime soon.
Thanks, buddy. Good seeing you.
All right. Cheers. Take care of yourself.
thanks, bye.
You ain't thinking straight.
I've never been more clear in my whole life.
Did I tell you you were gonna wish you killed me first?